Okay, we don't have to go through the full music today, Kev. We don't have long before the show starts. Okay, Dave, okay. Yes, I have now embraced my inner self. Dave is now a big part of the show. Welcome back, ladies and gents. This isn't a show. This is where I sit, have my coffee, I kick back, I chill out, and we come together before the main game in town, and I go live on the Kev Baker Show today with our good friend Kevin from Minnesota. Yes, indeed, he is going to be on the show with us. It's okay, Anne. I will take care of that. Yes. So yes, that'll be happening. In 38 minutes from now. So not long to wait. And Kevin today is going to be getting into something called the cycle of the psychos. And he's going to be talking about the sun. He's put together a PDF. He's got lots of notes. I'll be putting them onto the Kev Baker Show website so that you can follow along as we talk about everything that Kevin brings to the table. And of course, Kevin, he is in a wheelchair. He's blind. But that doesn't stop him running for the 7th District in Minneapolis. So we'll be finding out more about that as well today. And Kevin is somebody who, like myself, I think we listen to a lot of the same people in our formative years in this truth community. We were going to a lot of the same sources. We were both listening to Chris and Cherie Geo before Truth Frequency was even an idea that we both heard them have on one of their shows. And here we are today, all these years later, and yeah, it's funny how everything comes together, and funny how we've all come together as well. And I think one thing that you probably appreciate about my show, when it comes to the woo and the paranormal, is that I've got a bit of a strong connection to a location that is absolutely steeped in the paranormal, right? Loch Ness. And we've been talking about Loch Ness yesterday. We'd found a picture that purported to have shown the Loch Ness Monster. Now, we were very skeptical at the time. We're going to get an update on that from one of the leading aficionados on all things Loch Ness. Not Kev Baker, not Dave Baker. It's a guy called Timothy Dinsdale, if I can remember correctly. So we'll get into that in a moment. I'll come into the chat room. I'll chill out with you people as well. And yeah, we'll just kind of take it from there. I've got another couple of stories we can look at as well. Just need to fix something really quickly before we go on here. Before Anne gets me hit by some kind of copyright claim. Give me 2 seconds, folks. Okay, or a shoe, Anne. Okay, either one. It's not really what I want to be going down on my own stream. No, you don't want that happening. So if I bring that over here, there we go. Now Anne can watch her beloved Liverpool try and win the league. I know. What can you do? But if it stops me getting a shoe in the head, that's got to be a good thing, right? So where is my chat room? There is a chat room. Let me pop it out. I'll come on over here. There it is. Yes. Set it to live chat, folks. Never forget. Always go to live chat. So we've got Lewis in there, Connie, Polly, Nothing As It Seems, EOD Bombtech. Great to see you again, brother. Really good to see you again, man. Justin Goodearth, Just Be Happy, Connie, done that one. Polly, done that one. Not many people in today because it was short notice. I just thought, yeah, we've got time. I seen an update. We'll go for it. What to hang with you people, right? So ZX is in there. Nice to see you, Dick. Yes, indeedy. I like that one, ZX. Spooky Andy. And we had a real big fan that had come in before all of you. Didn't realise how they had got here, why they were here. I don't know. What does that say about people when you hang about YouTube? Only to wait for the people you don't like going live. That's a really strange phenomenon to wrap your head around, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, I know none of you out there hang around YouTube just waiting for somebody to go live because you don't like them. That's crazy, right? Dang, I feel sorry for these people. I would give you a big hug if you were here. I really would. But I want you all to send out hugs and love to one of our very own, Leslie. her mum has been taken into hospital. So she asked me to get some KBS love and prayers out there for her and her mum. So please keep Leslie in your thoughts. So big shout out to you, Leslie, and we can't wait to have you back with us. And fingers crossed, everything goes really, really well with your mum. So then, let me just get this ready to copy over here so I can block this out. So if we come over here, we're going to start with this update on the Loch Ness Monster. Now, we had the picture of it, and I'll bring that up on the screen here for you to see. No, Anne, it's not a picture of Nessie. Don't you worry about it. It's nothing to do with Nessie. And here we go. I'll bring that up here. Cover that up. So that's the picture we were looking at yesterday. And today we've got an update from one of the official blogs on Loch Ness. And it's right here, nailing the latest Nessie photograph. So this is Loch Ness Mystery.blogspot.com. And like I say, there's a dude called Tim Dinsdale that runs this. And he is like the dude, apparently. If you're looking for dudes into Loch Ness, this is the guy you go to. And he was trying to get the actual memory card that the photograph was stored in so that he could get a right good look at the metadata. Because as we pointed out yesterday, there's a few issues with this photograph here. A good few issues with this photograph. Where do you start? But to cut the long story short, and to not give it any more attention than it's due, let's just say that this dude is not handing over the original file, which would lead me and everyone else out there should as well come to the conclusion that there's something far wrong with this. And it says, okay, so the previous article and the analysis of the photographs XF data, and anyone who's into like computers or PCs more than I am, you'll know more about metadata than I do. I would expect that this is part of the metadata, right? And it led me to conclude that this was not a photograph of the Loch Ness Monster. I continued to talk to Steve, the photographer, but that has come to an end as he could not provide the original SD card image. But I was looking for something objective and not just opinions that would seal the deal on this one, and it came from Jeriah Houghton, who found the above image of a catfish at this site. Now, that isn't the same image that's been photoshopped. That's not what the guy's saying. But when you go over here and take a look at the catfish, wait till you see some of the size of these things. Okay? Look at the size of that thing there. I mean, these things can be massive. So listen, on this photograph, like I hinted on the thumbnail, only in Clown World would that even have got any traction as being the Loch Ness Monster. And it must have been a really, really slow news day up in Scotland yesterday for this to get coverage in the Daily Record, no less. Now, for any of you budding Loch Ness Monster hunters out there, I would refer you over to this website here. It's called lochness.co.uk/livecam. Now, because of everything going on in the world with the pandemic, it's not quite as live as it once was, but I've been watching it today, and it updates something like every 7 to 12 seconds, okay? It's not great, it's not brilliant, but that panoramic that you're kind of seeing there, it's very close to where that image was taken. Very, very close indeed. This is further south towards Fort Augustus, whereas that's closer. If you were just to go round there, you'd have Uckert Castle real close. So that they're roughly in the same place, roughly looking at the same area. And like I say, that's like the best view you can get of the loch. It really is. It's the most you can see in one shot, unless you're like sitting out in a boat. But there's another website that does the cameras as well. You can easily Google them. And that's where a lot of the sightings have actually been made in recent times. Nothing as cool and groovy looking as that bad boy there. Yeah, it gets the clown noise, and I suppose I should get the clown noise as well. For even covering it yesterday then, right? Right? Shouldn't I? Absolutely. But you didn't think that's the only Loch Ness woo I would have for you, did you? No, not at all. What if we threw in a bit of supernatural to the whole Loch Ness Monster equation? And you know where I sit on this? Not on Nessie, like literally, you could never do that. Maybe you could. But only if you're a Highlandman, though. You would have to think it would only let a Highlandman like ride it up the loch. Anyway, I don't know how I got there. But yeah, me on the Loch Ness Monster, I think it's just a really supernatural, paranormal area. How about we compare it to all of the stuff that I talk about in relation to Skinwalker Ranch? And what I mean by that is I don't mean there's a literal Navajo skinwalker up in the Great Glen. That would be a blast, wouldn't it? There's a book in there somewhere. But no, what I mean is it's just one of these portals. It's one of these places where most mornings you wake up and it's clouded and shrouded in mist. Yeah, there's that mist that me and Scott always talk about again. We don't know what it does, but it's always there. And Alistair Crowley, out of all the places he could have chosen Britain, you know, out of all the royal kind of lands that he probably would have been afforded the right to buy property on because of his status in society, no, he chose the back of beyond. Now, that was in 1899, and I can tell you, getting to Alistair Crowley's house in this day and age, Boleskine House, 2020, modern cars, modern roads, it's an absolute nightmare. And you could pass it without even knowing you've been there. Yet here's this dude, he found out of all the places, with all the money and connections he had, he went to Loch Ness. I don't think he was the one that caused some kind of paranormal activity there, but I think he's somebody that recognised if you're going to do a bit of magic, well, why not do it somewhere a little bit magical? And Loch Ness definitely ticks all of those boxes. So with that absolutely splendid build-up, let me take you over to our favourite little website. Yes, you guessed it. Mysterious Universe. We're back in there. And it is a catalogue of creepiness at the famous lake. Now that angers me. That almost triggers me. Almost triggered me. Almost. Scottish people don't call them lakes, okay? It's a loch. And it's not a loch, it's a loch. You see? You see? There's a difference, right? There is a difference. Trust me, there's a difference. So anyway, it says here, let me catch up with the chat room. There it is. Hey, there's Leslie in there. And Leslie, I hope you got my shout out to you from me and the whole audience. Really thinking of you. I hope this can take your mind away from things, and hopefully you're not too anxious, too worried about what's going on there. So, if we get into this, and it's Nick Redfern, I'll let Nick away with it if you get back to me, Nick. 1974 was a year in which Loch Ness Monster Authority Tim Dinsdale made a notable but carefully and tactfully worded statement to Nessie seeker Ted Holliday on the paranormal connections of the mystery of the Loch Ness beasts. As far as the monster hunting community of the day was concerned, Dinsdale was firmly and forever in the flesh and blood category when it came to the nature of the creatures of the Loch. Many within that community are still of that opinion today, chiefly because they are unaware of what was going on behind the scenes. Firmly and forever, however, are far too rigid and incorrect words to use. Privately, Dinsdale had a sneaking suspicion that something which was very possibly afoot, even if he preferred to not overly broadcast his views publicly. In April 1974, Dinsdale had some notable things to say, and he admitted to Holiday that he had crossed paths with what appeared to be a paranormal component to the mystery of the monsters of Loch Ness. Plural, more than one. And like I say, I think it could just be the one thing that takes many forms. But hey, that's just me. Don't let me shape the way you think. Monsters of Loch Ness, but he remained baffled regarding how something of a supernatural nature could provoke such things as wakes in the water, photos, and sonar recordings. Indeed, that is one of the most baffling aspects of the Loch Ness Monsters phenomenon. What if it's the loch itself, not the monster in it that's the anomalous thing? That's just one thing that takes advantage of whatever the abomination, the kind of weirdness that is taking place in or at the bottom of the loch is. Would that maybe be able to account then for sonar readings, things being a bit weird? I don't know. But I know the loch itself. I've never seen the monster, but it seemed to have some kind of. Do I want to call it an energy? Can you call it an energy? There's a feeling about it, an atmosphere, shall we say? I don't know. And you growing up there, you'd expect, well, it would just be normal to me, right? But then when you go home again, there's something there to it. There is. So it says, it's very instructive to note that Tim Dinsdale's thoughts on a supernatural theory for the Nessies went back to 1965. It was only a few short years after, or that was only a few short years after Dinsdale's long championed film footage was secured. In September of that year, Dinsdale travelled to the loch for the 9th time with the hope of securing high-resolution imagery of the creatures, specifically from the south shore east of Foyers Bay. When you look up Aleister Crowley's works, you'll find that between 1899 and about 1905 or so, he wrote his books, and in the title of his books, you'll find Boleskine House, Foyers, Inverness. That's the same Foyers Bay that they were talking about looking for the monster. So out of a 26-mile stretch of water, they were more interested in what was just at the bottom of the brae, the hill where Aleister Crowley's house sat. What a coincidence. So it wasn't just Dinsdale's 9th expedition. It was nearly proved to be his final visit to those notorious waters. Indeed, his trip was plagued by an extraordinary amount of escalating disasters. His small boat was capsized. He was quickly laid low by a viral infection. He suffered repeated problems with his electrical equipment, something that is often reported in both UFO and Bigfoot-themed encounters too. Maybe it was Mercury retrograde. I'm only joking. And he badly damaged one of his hands. Maybe it was. Almost losing the tip of one of his fingers in the process. Now, some might put this catalogue of disasters down to just unfortunate circumstances and nothing else. Dinsdale, however, felt very strongly otherwise. And he said of this fraught and weird time that having suffered such health-related calamities, he knew it was time to leave behind him both Loch Ness and the distinct sense of unease that he experienced whenever he visited the loch. It was, said Dinsdale, as though some awful influence pervaded the atmosphere. Something evil. Now, those are quite astonishing words from a man who publicly saw the Nessies as flesh and blood animals and nothing too woo-woo. So, half a decade later, Dinsdale crossed paths with Winifred Carey, She was a psychic who Ted Holliday came to know well. The home she shared with her husband, Basil, overlooked Loch Ness's Ucker Bay, and she claimed no less than 16 sightings of the Nessie over a period of almost 60 years. Now, Winifred Carey was also a highly skilled dowser who said she could use her powers to seek out a Nessie. Apparently, she did just that. And she did far more too. She found evidence of no less than not one but two creatures in the loch. Dinsdale, very impressed by Carey's psychic skills, raced to the water's edge, jumped in the boat, and headed out to the two spots where Carey had identified monsters apparently lurking. Now, amazingly, Dinsdale's sonar equipment picked up something only 600 feet away from Carey's first sight. More impressive, another sonar image was picked up exactly where Carey said a monster was present. And again, this demonstrates that not only did Dinsdale recognise the supernatural aspects of the Loch Ness monsters themselves, he also recognised that they could be tracked down by supernatural means. In this case, by water divining. Now, just to round this up before we shift gears and start looking forward to today's really cool show with Kevin, not the other Kevin. Then, late one night in 1975, while negotiating the precarious hills that stand west of Ucker Bay, and while making his way to his boat, the appropriately named Water Horse, Dinsdale experienced something strange. He was shocked and terrified by the sight of a weird blue light that, very curiously, appeared to come out of the very soil itself, and around 120 feet in front of him. Rather notably, the flash coincided with Dinsdale checking his watch. It was precisely midnight. Wrong one. It's alright, we'll get rid of that. Finally, in 1983, the late Eric Beckyard, a researcher who believed that just about every weird critter under the sun had supernatural origins, visited Dinsdale and learned something fascinating. Dinsdale told Beckyard how one night, while moored near Aleister Crowley's Boleskine house, he encountered all manner of supernatural entities trying to attack him and his boat. Dinsdale stressed they did not harm or did him no physical harm, but as Beckyard noted, they finally killed off the plesiosaur idea for him. Oh, yes, indeedy. And where has my thing gone? I'm gonna absolutely get there. It is. There it is. I almost got done for copyright there. Dang, went to the wrong screen. So, not funny, and not funny. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna have to really wrap this up quickly. I know it was a very quick one today, right? But it was a bit of woo in there. We've got the Nessie from Clown World. Only in Clown World would that make Nessie. In fact, it should have red boots on its flippers and a big bright red nose so that it can go. Know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm gonna go get Kevin now. He's asking, Horton, where are you? So I need to go and get him. To give you an idea of what we're going to be getting into, let me just take you over here to Studio B again. This is what Kev has put together. We're going to be talking about the Earth, the Sun, the Moon, the stars, the sky, the precessions of the equinox, the wobble of the Earth, the tilt, the tropics of Cancer, tropics of Capricorn, probably 33 degrees, is it? I'm not too sure. What else we got here? Yep, summer solstice. Yeah, this is going to be good. And of course, Kev is going to be talking about something that he calls the cycle of the Psychos. There we go as well. Obelisk there. Very, very symbolic. St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. Oh, there's another big, giant, erect obelisk over there. Look at that, two giant circles at the bottom of it. How interesting. Yous went there, folks, not me. Yous went there. Sundial. Yes, there we go. That is as much as you're getting for our sneak peek for today's show. Listen, don't forget, if you're new to the channel here, I can't imagine how you ended up here, but welcome. Remember to subscribe for updates. We've got Discord that I'm sometimes in, but all of these cool characters, they're always kicking about over there. Big shout out to all of you. Remember, keep it real. And if you can, come and join me over on tfrlive.com in 13 minutes from now, when I'll be joined by Kevin from Minnesota. Tomorrow, I'll be on for an earlier pre-show stream. And then, oh, Scotty Lopez is going to be on tomorrow night as well. Maybe Joe, I don't know yet. I've thrown it out there to him. But yes, that is tomorrow night on the show. Tonight, though, it's Nacy, a.k.a. Kevin from Minnesota, and the cycle of the Psychos. Thank you so much for being here. Super cool. It's been super quick, I know, but I'll make it up to you tomorrow. We'll do a lot more in depth. And I'm looking at a lot of cool science out there, folks. A lot of cool science that we can get into. We've got black holes merging and bumping into unknown objects. We have got the fifth state of matter that will eventually be used to detect minerals and matter on faraway planets and lands. You know, just a typical kind of week in the science world. Only in 2020, all of these things just another day, right? And hey, remember, we're still riding out that Mercury retrograde, so hold on tight, folks. Hey, you ain't seen nothing yet. Join us real soon over on tfrlive.com, your #1 network. It's where you find the Kev Baker Show and about 30 other brilliant shows. And it's where silence is consent. And it's where I'm going to be 12 minutes from now. Start your clocks counting down. You know, I done that whole stream and didn't even get a drink of my coffee, right? You know, I didn't. Dang them all. Dang. Dang all you stories. No, you see, I need to get going. You see, I want to hang with yous or I'll forget my start time.
How dare you?
There you go, Marty, just for you.